Since Unreal Engine 3, I'm not sure there's been a single engine on any console that's had the run of quality games that the UbiArts framework has had recently. And the latest addition is Valiant Hearts.
Yeah, so UbiArts done great with the Rayman Legends and Origins games, and of course Child of Light, which we very much enjoyed. And now there's something a little bit different coming from Ubisoft. So Valiant Hearts is a sort of quite quirky and very different World War One set puzzle action game. I guess that's fair to say.
Yeah, it'd be fair to say that. So it's basically you interacting with objects, almost like an adventure game in places, trying to solve little mini puzzles, and then these more sort of interactive elements with a nice kind of story overlaying that of these different characters. One family of this German called Karl, his wife Marie, and his father Emil, who you can see here. They've been separated and they're trying to get back together. And then there's kind of a second overlapping story with a character called Freddy, who's an American soldier who's joined voluntarily because the US haven't actually joined, and then Anna, who's looking for her father. And as you can see, the puzzle elements are relatively simple. I think for the most part you could kind of muddle through a lot of them. They're not that complex, but they're quite fun, a lot of them. They're kind of interesting, and anything that kind of gives you more time to spend in this world with these really crazy little animations and things is quite fun, particularly if you get to interact with Carl the dog.
Yeah, I mean...
Or Walt the dog, I should say.
The thing with the puzzles is, on their own, they're all very simplistic. You know, they're not necessarily pushing the boat out. They're not doing anything other adventure games haven't done before. But what they do is give you a really good sense of character. Like, they really help build the characters up and their place in this horrible world quite quickly and effortlessly. And I think you have to look at this game as a whole package. You know, not only have you got these puzzle elements and the interactive elements, but I mean, my time spent with it, I felt like I really learned something about World War One. You know, it's one of those eras that isn't really taught that much in schools. It's one of those sort of things that we gloss over and go straight to World War Two more often than not, because it's such a horrible time period. And
yeah,
it does cut all these history lessons in and gives them really good context. And I did come away feeling like I learned something, as well as had pretty good time with it as well.
Can feel a little bit disjointed with those sort of darker elements with things like this guy, the sort of villain for most of the game, Baron Van Dorf, who plays like a kind of propaganda pantomime villain almost. But if you can kind of buy into that and sort of into the tone of it and kind of allow it to kind of breathe and kind of do its thing for a while, it can be a lot of fun. I've got to say, I actually really enjoyed some of these little boss battles against Baron Van Dorf. They added a very different sort of pace to the game at times and a bit more urgency. And I think we have to just come back to how good this game looks. It's just a wonderful art style, so much detail, so much life they managed to bring into these kind of 2D characters.
Yeah, I think considering the tone of the game and its story, I think taking it in almost like a cartoony, not Looney Tunes, but very sort of overt sort of, approach to it was really the only way they could do it without dragging everyone down into like a seeping depression. So commend Ubisoft for that. You know, it does slip up a few times, and there are times where the tone does clash against conventional design, but as said, same with Child of Light, it's great to see them using this engine and this platform to try new ideas and let studios breathe a bit after this sort of AAA cycle runs down.
So I think on the whole, just a really enjoyable game, absolutely recommended. Some, let's say, fairly simple puzzles, but puzzles that are fun to play and fun to explore, and a story that's really interesting to kind of discover and allow to unfold. Just a really great piece of work from Ubisoft once again. So we've really enjoyed it, and we've given it a 7 out of 10.